Let me ask you something that most people avoid thinking about. What if the biggest thing holding you back right now is not your lack of talent, not your lack of intelligence, not your circumstances, but the way you are using your time? Because the truth is very simple. Time is the most valuable resource you will ever have. Not money, not connections, not opportunities, time. And yet it is the one resource people waste the most carelessly, as if it were unlimited. They scroll for hours. They delay their dreams. They convince themselves that they will start later. But later is a lie. Later is the story people tell themselves so they can feel comfortable today while slowly sacrificing the future they actually want. And one day, when enough years have passed, when the opportunities have moved on, when the energy of youth has faded, that lie becomes painfully clear, because time never comes back. Every second you waste is a second of your life that disappears forever. And when you truly understand that, when you truly feel the weight of that reality, something powerful begins to change inside you. You stop waiting, you stop drifting, you stop living like you have unlimited chances. You begin to move with intention. One of the most dangerous habits a person can develop is the habit of postponing their potential. You know exactly what that looks like. You say, I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll wake up earlier. Tomorrow I'll begin training seriously. Tomorrow I'll start working on my goals. But tomorrow has a strange way of always staying just out of reach. Tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year. And before you realize it, years have passed while you were waiting for the perfect moment. But there is something you must understand. The perfect moment does not exist. Life will never suddenly become easier. Your schedule will never magically clear. Your fears will not disappear before you begin. The people who build extraordinary lives do not wait for the perfect conditions. They start in imperfect ones. They start when it is inconvenient. They start when they are uncertain. They start when it is uncomfortable, because they understand something most people never realize. Progress begins the moment you stop waiting. Now let me tell you something that might change the way you see your life. It is never too late to start. Most people underestimate how powerful a few years of focused effort can be. They look at successful individuals and think, that person has always been ahead. That person started early. That person had advantages. But history is full of examples of people who started late and still built extraordinary lives. Because the moment you commit to discipline and consistency, time begins working for you instead of against you. And time, when combined with consistent action, becomes an incredibly powerful force. You may feel behind right now. You may feel like others have already passed you. But the truth is this: the person who starts today with discipline will almost always surpass the person who started earlier but never committed. Because discipline multiplies effort, consistency multiplies growth, and over time those multipliers become enormous. Now here is a concept that can completely change the direction of your life if you truly understand it: the compound effect. Small actions repeated consistently over long periods of time create massive results. Let's break that down. Imagine improving yourself by just 1% every day. 1%, that sounds almost insignificant. You might even think it's too small to matter. But if you improve by 1% every day for a year, the difference becomes extraordinary, because growth compounds. Just like money compounds in an investment account, effort compounds in your life. Every workout strengthens the next one. Every hour of learning builds on the last. Every disciplined decision reinforces your identity. And over time, those small improvements stack on top of each other until they create a level of progress that looks almost unbelievable. But here is the part most people miss. The compound effect works in both directions. Just as good habits compound positively, bad habits compound negatively. Wasting 1 hour a day may not feel like a big deal, but over a year that becomes hundreds of hours lost. Over a decade it becomes thousands. That is time that could have been spent building your body, your knowledge, your career, your character. And that is why time must be protected. People often ask what separates those who succeed from those who remain average. Is it talent? Is it intelligence? Is it luck? Sometimes those things help, but the real difference is far simpler. Discipline. Discipline is the multiplier that turns effort into results. Without discipline, even the most talented person will struggle. With discipline, even an ordinary person can achieve extraordinary things, because discipline ensures that you keep moving forward even when motivation disappears. And motivation always disappears eventually. There will be days when you wake up tired, days when the work feels heavy, days when you question whether the effort is worth it. But discipline does not negotiate with those feelings. Discipline simply says, do the work. And when you repeat that decision enough times, something remarkable happens. The work becomes part of who you are. At first, discipline feels difficult. It feels forced. It feels unnatural. But over time, consistency begins to reshape your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to improve. You begin to see yourself as someone who does what must be done. You become the kind of person who trains even when tired, who studies even when distracted, who shows up even when nobody is watching. And when that identity shift happens, the entire game changes. Because once discipline becomes your identity, progress becomes inevitable. Now, here is something many people struggle with. They underestimate themselves. They believe that greatness belongs to someone else. They believe that extraordinary success requires extraordinary talent, but that belief is simply not true. The truth is that most people dramatically underestimate what they can achieve through consistent effort over time. They look at the mountain and think it is impossible to climb, but mountains are not climbed in one leap. They are climbed step by step, day by day. And the person who keeps taking those steps, even slowly, will eventually reach heights that once seemed unreachable. Never underestimate the power of consistent effort. Never underestimate the power of discipline. And most importantly, never underestimate yourself, because inside every person is far more potential than they realize. Right now, as you are listening to this, your future is being built. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Every decision you make is shaping the direction of your life. Every hour you invest or waste is shaping who you become. And the person you will be 5 years from now is being created by the habits you practice today. So the real question is not whether you have potential. The real question is whether you are willing to use your time wisely enough to unlock it, because time will pass either way. 5 years from now will arrive whether you act or not. The difference is who you will be when that moment comes. So if you take one message from this video, let it be this: start now. Not when conditions improve, not when you feel ready, not when the fear disappears. Start now. Start with the smallest possible step, if necessary. Read one page, do one workout, learn one skill, take one action that moves your life forward. Because momentum begins with movement. And once momentum begins, progress becomes easier. But it all begins with that first decision. Remember this: time is limited, consistency compounds, discipline multiplies effort. And the version of you that you are capable of becoming is far greater than the one you see today. Do not waste another year waiting. Do not waste another opportunity doubting yourself. Protect your time. Build your habits. Show up every day. Because if you do that long enough, the compound effect will begin to work in your favor. And one day you will look back and realize that the small actions you once underestimated were the very things that built your life. If this message spoke to you, do 3 things. Like the video. Subscribe if you are serious about building the strongest version of yourself. And in the comments write, every second counts, because from this moment forward, your time matters.